Your agent asked if you want to waive the appraisal contingency. You said yes, fast, because you didn't want to be the buyer who seemed difficult. You may have just made a really expensive decision, or a genius one. I sell East Valley real estate, and I've been an appraiser for over 27 years. Today, I'll show you when waiving is smart and when it's a disaster, and how to actually think about it, instead of just nodding along because the seller has 3 offers. Jason Hubbard here, Loyalty Home Group with Real Broker, East Valley agent, Queen Creek, Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa, Santan Valley, Apache Junction, 27 years appraising, and I'm selling homes. If you're buying, this is the channel where the real conversation happens before you sign, not after. Let me back up. The appraisal contingency is the clause in your contract that lets you back out with your earnest money if the appraised value comes in below the purchase price. It's one of the standard buyer protections. And in a competitive markets, sellers hate it because it's another way the deal can fall apart. So you push to waive it. Here's what waiving actually means. You are agreeing that the appraisal comes in low, you cover the gap in cash at closing, because your lender is only going to loan against the appraised value. So if the appraisal comes in $20,000 under contract, you're bringing an extra $20,000 to the table on top of your down payment. Now, waiving is smart in some scenarios. You have a lot of cash. You've done your homework on comparable sales and you're confident the house will appraise at or near contract. You want to compete with cash buyers, and this is the only way you can do it. Waiving is a disaster in other scenarios. You're stretched thin on the down payment, so you have no extra cash sitting around. You're paying at the top of what recent comps support. The market is softening, or you're new to buying and your agent is telling you to waive because that's what everyone's doing. The last one is the trap. Everyone's doing it. It's not a strategy. It's a herd instinct, and the herd doesn't cover your appraisal gap. Here's what I see in the East Valley right now. It's hot in Gilbert and Chandler neighborhoods. Sellers still ask buyers to waive. In Queen Creek and Santan, where new build inventory is competing with resale, sellers are getting less pushy about it because the buyer has options. In Apache Junction and Outer Mesa, buyers usually keep the contingency without a fight. The point is, waiving isn't the standard, it's a negotiating move. It should be treated like one. Here's how I frame it as an agent. If a client of mine is going to waive the appraisal contingency, we're having a real conversation first about their cash position, their comfort level, and how strong the comp support actually is, not just the seller wants us to. And here's the appraiser side of my brain working. If you're paying at the top of the market, the risk of a gap is not zero. Appraisals are comp driven, not vibe driven. If the comps don't support your price, the appraisal probably won't either. Before you waive, ask yourself 3 questions. How much cash could I bring to close the gap without wrecking my life? How confident am I that the price I'm paying is supported by recent comparable sales? And how badly do I actually want this specific house? That's the key one. If your answers to all 3 are strong, waive it. If any of them are shaky, keep the contingency. The seller's frustration is not your problem. Your down payment is. If you're getting ready to write an offer in the East Valley and somebody is pressuring you to waive the appraisal contingency, I'll have the honest conversation with you before you sign. The link's down in the description. Subscribe, and if you ever waived a contingency and lived to regret it, I want to hear about it in the comments so the next buyer doesn't.